episode of the Producers Aisle. We had two guests on before, and this will be our third guest. Entrepreneur, event planner. I believe she's doing big things in the corporate world too. Community activist, Teka Jones, born and raised in Springfield. Teka, thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did I leave anything out?
I guess financial advisor, that's it.
There
But
we
that was
go.
only for a little while. People don't even really know about that.
For real?
Yeah.
You still doing it?
On the side, mainly with kids.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
dope. Oh, you partnered with who on that?
I started with AAA, but now I've been doing it on my own.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's major. That's
Yeah.
major.
And then you've done schools before, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was at Libertas for a little while, and Angie was telling me, he was like, yeah, T could do all the financial literacy. She taught my daughter about all this money. I'm like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's
I try to keep the kids busy.
That's major. That's major. So what's like the backstory for you? Like, I know you're born and raised in Springfield, but what high school did you go to? College? Talk to us about that.
So I went to Central High School, and that's when I first fell in love with like video production. I was gonna say that's when I first started doing video production. But I fell in love with video production about when I was like 11 years old, and then when I got to high school, I'm like, I want to get in the entertainment world.
Yeah.
Whether it's, I'm sorry, I lost my voice too.
Nah, you
but-
good. You good.
But I was like, I want to get in the entertainment world, so I said I want to start a record label, and I wanted to do like music and then video production. Even though video production is my heart, I still wanted some kind of like record label or something that like help people get out there. So when I was in high school, my sister's boyfriend introduced me to a guy named Frank Nino, and then Frank ended up like taking me kind of as an intern. So at Central, when I was going there, I was doing video production, and he had me shooting like videos for like local rappers and different
Dope.
rappers. And then he started bringing me to different parties, started bringing me different events, teaching me how to network.
Yep.
Now, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I was like, all right, let me just try it out. I was 16.
How you was 16? Okay,
I was
I was just about
16.
to ask.
And so, like one of my first events I had went to with him, J.R. Ryder was at a club.
Okay.
And I wasn't even honestly supposed to be in there, to be real.
Sneaking in.
And they were trying to get me to like to talk to people, but I was kind of nervous, and
Yeah.
it ended up me like talking to the right people, and then J.R. Ryder came over to me, and then like the rest is like history.
Right.
But Frank just kind of taught me and threw me out there, and then from there, like I started going to parties with him and throwing parties with him.
Yep.
And then I was like, I want to try it doing myself.
Yeah.
So I started throwing parties at like 16. I started doing events, but I always had ties to the community.
Yeah.
So I was at Central going to school. I was doing video production at Central and outside of school.
Yeah.
I started like doing networking, and I started doing events. So I kind of like started getting busy like right in high school.
That's crazy.
So right outside of high school, I didn't go straight to college. I thought I was kind of living my dream.
Yeah.
When I started doing parties, I was starting making like $2,000 a night, and I was only 18, fresh out of high school. So I'm
That
like,
fast
I'm making money.
That
You
fast
know, I was
money.
like,
Fast
Yep.
money.
I'm not going to college. I'm already living my dream. I'm doing video production. I'm making money. And I started throwing like events. But then the laws ended up changing in Springfield, and you had to be 21 and older to go out. Most of my crowd was like 21
Younger.
and younger.
Yeah.
So I stopped. Like things kind of slowed down with the money. So my mom was like, "Tika, get back in school, get back in college, get back in college." So at first, I went to every college in Springfield. I went to Stick. I ended up getting sick, so I left there. And then it wasn't welcoming to me because they just kind of had like that window, and I didn't really know what I was doing. So then I went to HCC, but then I ended up moving to Boston. Then I went to AIC for like a semester.
Okay.
And I did well at AIC. I liked it, but something was just like, it really wasn't there. So then I stopped going to school for like a year.
How old were you at this time?
At this time, I'm about like 20.
Okay.
I'm like 20.
Yeah.
So then my mom's like, just like try another school. So I went to Nantucket Community College. They were very inviting, and they taught me a lot. So I'm like, all right, I'll get back in school. I went to Nantucket. I did really well there. I got into like the student government. I was still doing events in the community because I always had my ties to the community.
Yeah.
But when I got back in school, it was kind of a game changer for me. So I just started learning that like all the stuff that I was doing kind of in the streets, like with parties and promotion and stuff like that, you can do it in school. It's just different.
Yep.
So like I had met these people who were pretty much paying schools to go on trips. So I'm like, I wonder, do you guys work with any entities that are outside of school? And they end up working, they said they do. So I end up like working with them, and I realized that like corporate people pay you. You just have to have an EIN number. Or you have to have like a nonprofit or something. So I went and started my own little EIN. I didn't know what I was doing. And I was making like $4,000 a trip. So I'm like, oh, shoot. So went to Nuntuck. When I graduated there, I went to Howard. And then
The rest is history.
rest is history. So
That's a crazy story, crazy path, and I feel like that's important for a lot of kids because it's like just people in general. Like you don't have to have the traditional path to success in
Right.
whatever lane you in. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it seemed like you wanted to be in that kind of like that entertainment, but also event planning, like because you had it at a young age,
right.
where that's an advantage in itself. Like you getting that hand on. Shout out Frank Nino, by the
Yeah.
way.
Shout
He
out
got his
Frank
own
Nino.
podcast. I can't think of the name.
Yep. I think it's Third Lane or something like
It's
that.
something like that.
Yeah.
But shout out to Frank Nino. But the fact that you was doing it, I had no idea that you was a part of that whole movement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is dope. So you went to Howard. How was Howard?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
It was really a culture shock for me, and a lot of like what I'm trying to do now, and a lot of the events I'm doing now, I try to bring what I learned from Howard home, because it was just so rich, and like I just felt different. Like I felt loved when I was out there. I felt at home, and I never felt that before, and it was amazing. It was dope, and I got into like the corporate world out there. I got into also the community world out there. I met like a lot of people, and I really would have stayed out there because I was making a lot of good money.
Yeah.
But I'm close to my mom, so my mom always brought me back. And then even though I was at Howard, I was still having my kids' fashion show here. I was still having events here, and it was like I found myself coming back home every weekend.
Yeah.
And it was like getting expensive. One thing that like messed me up when I was at Howard is I had my car, and I ended up racking up in like $4,000 in like
Parking tickets.
You go 1 minute over the meter,
They on it.
they ticketing you.
That's college. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
That's how they
like
make
it was
their
like
money.
$20 every 4 hours to park at Howard.
Oh my
And so
God.
like, if I'm
And there's
parking-
no parking. There's not much parking in DC.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's already a struggle to find parking, but then I'm paying $20 an hour. Then if you go over, you get ticketed. Then when I would go to work and work an 8-hour shift, I was spending like almost $80 a day, $60 a day.
parking.
So it just like got crazy. So I'm like, I think I'm gonna come back home. I'm gonna get on my feet. My intentions were just like to buy a multifamily, get on my feet, then move back out there. But as soon as I moved back home, COVID hit.
Oh.
So I bought my multifamily in 2019, and then by 2020, March 2020, we were in COVID. So I wasn't able just to move back. So then
Yeah.
I've been home trying to, I was like, all right, well, it's COVID. Let's figure this out. And then that's when I got into like the financial literacy and like got into like the whole financial advising.
Major. So 2019, you got that 3% interest rate.
Yeah.
You eating right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people I know a lot of people who's like, yo, I got that 3% interest rate. I'm not moving nowhere.
Yeah, I bought my 3-family for $160,000. Now it's worth $330,000, and that's without even the appraisals on the inside of like the upgrades I
You
did.
did.
So I'm like, that was crazy what COVID did. So
That was
I
a
ended
good
up
time.
getting lucky. So
Yeah, that was a good time to buy for sure. Georgie, what do you know anything about like Bitcoin? Cause you know what we do, and we
Yeah.
connected. So like me and Teka, I knew who Teka was, but I think when I was throwing the Bitcoin Classic at Rucker Park, we kind of connected, and
More,
that's
yeah.
when I realized and started doing my research on you. Like, oh, she's legit. Like, she has the IAM ME fashion shows. I don't know how long you've been doing them.
2010.
Yeah. So then I'm like, yo, listen, I would love to have you and build something with you. But just talk about, because at the time I couldn't really afford her services and pay you to do anything. But I guess talk about volunteering your time and and labor and just your expertise to something, knowing that there's a bigger picture at play. Like
Yeah.
I might be able to kind of parlay this into something.
Yeah, so like for me, it's important that like not everything's about money.
Right.
Not everything's about money. Even when I started the IAM ME fashion show, I went to a bunch of different community centers and I went to like different people because I wasn't into like fashion growing up. I wasn't even into events. I didn't know what I was doing. So I went to a bunch of different people and they didn't know how to throw fashion shows, but the ones that did, they said, oh, you got to pay me X amount if you want me to even get started with you. And I'm like, I don't got that,
Right,
you know?
right.
Then the community centers kept sending me to other community centers and sending me to other places, and everybody kind of shut the door.
Yeah.
And Kashana Sharif, shout out to Kashana, I don't know if you guys know Cash.
The dancer.
Yeah.
She was. I remember her. She used to be dancing at Dunbar
Yes.
way back.
And now she's killing
Her,
it. Mary J. Blige,
Larice.
Beyonce.
Who was
Yep.
Larice?
She used to work for Miss Larice.
Yeah,
Yep.
Miss Larice. So my mother does daycare, and she, her son Kamari was
Yep.
in the daycare. That's how I know Larice.
Yep.
Yep. That's
so
what's up.
Cash, she's doing it huge now. But when I went to Kashana, she said it's not about the money. She said it's not about the money. And ever since then, we've been like sisters ever since. And now, like, there's no amount of money that I would not spend or give to Kashana. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, there's nothing. If anything I'm plugged in, she's plugged in. Anything I get, she gets, you know? Because she believed in me before I even had anything, before I even could do anything. And she said it wasn't about the money. And that's what you have to be like in life. So anybody that I see that is doing something or trying to do something and not just talking.
Right.
Because you find people along the way that they say they want to do something, but then they just be saying it, or they want you to do it for them.
Listen.
And then they want to kind of hop on, or they want the credit, but they don't want to do the work.
Listen.
So it's like when you see people who are actually doing it, everybody needs help. Everybody needs support. There's not one person on this planet that can do it alone, especially coming from where we come from. So I'm like, what can I do to help?
Yeah.
It's not about the money. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Not just that, I have kids that I need them to get experience. I need them to get out there and work. I need to see that. I want them to see me volunteering so they understand that they have to volunteer, they have to give. So taking them with me and having them work different events, they get exposure to something new. And that was an amazing event. That blew my mind. I'm like, because like you said, we never got to really work together
Right.
before. So it was like I started doing my research, and even being there was just like mind blowing. So it was just like, and it's like God is always watching, because then it opened up a door for me. I ended up getting opportunity from that. So
That's
it's just
major.
like from volunteering.
Yep.
You couldn't tell me like Teka wasn't already a part of the like whole Bitcoin Classic, because like how she came in was like, oh yeah, this looks good. I'm gonna do a video of this, do a video of that.
Yep.
Everybody's watching her stories like, oh yeah, we should have been out in New York. I don't know why we not at the Rucker right now. The next day there was mass support from Springfield.
Yeah.
Or just like mass support online, just sharing it. So like I really, and like me, even when I watch Teka stuff, I'd be like, yo, all right, so Teka's doing it, so that's a good pathway. So now I can start doing my thing. All right. Cause
And
I
I'm
don't
so
know.
proud of you, Jordan. I'm so
Thank
proud of you.
I'm so proud of you, yo.
And
I'm like,
so proud of us.
Yo,
like,
for
you
real,
know?
Absolutely.
for real. Because it's like to come from. I always say it, to come from a small city. It's tough because there's not many opportunities to do that.
Right.
Where you can reach out to somebody like, yo, let me just help and see where it goes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the fact that Georgie kind of came on and
right, I was doing the same thing you said, like
Yeah.
just doing it for free. Like
Yeah.
he was like, oh yeah, I'll give you a room. I didn't even expect a room. I was gonna
Me neither. That's
I
what
was
I'm
stay
saying.
in the
Like,
streets of New
that
York
was
right now.
love. That
yeah,
was
but it's
love.
like I try to help out where I can, but the fact that, you know, we have those opportunities where it's like, yo, let me just go help and see what comes from it. And that's what I do. Like, I'm the person that'll be like, yo, meet this person.
Right.
Meet this person. Connect with this person.
Go talk to that person over there.
Exactly. That's who I am, because like I want you to eat off of anything that I have as well, because
Right.
you're
Because if we all grow, we all look out for each other. Because life is a roller coaster. We have ups and downs
Facts.
regardless. And when I'm down, if you have other people that's up, they can help you get up, especially if you help them.
Absolutely.
And that's what it's about. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like if any of us falls, like, now I'm going to pick you back up. And we gonna get back in this race.
Yeah.
Because we're in a, you know what I'm saying? Like, not saying that we're in a race like against other people. We're in a race to just make it, to just figure it out, to give our families and our future that generational wealth and that generational stability.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, one day, like, we can be in Dubai just having dinner, talking about, remember, when we first met? And that's what it's about. It's just like we all
IAM ME
growing.
Dubai.
Yeah, IAM ME
Yeah.
Dubai,
We there.
right?
We there.
Got Bitcoin Classic Dubai too.
Dubai,
yo.
right? That's the same weekend.
Word.
In the whole
Weekend.
city, like, and and we're inspiring the, people coming up. We're inspiring the next generation, and that's what it's about. Because I want to get even Springfield to a point where the kids realize your dreams can come true. They seen it happen too many times,
Right.
So it's like then when the kids' our dreams are coming true, they're coming back to the city and they're reinvesting.
Yeah.
So one day this city's not gonna be what it once was. It's not gonna be about violence. It's not gonna be about baby daddies and all that stuff. It's gonna be
Yeah.
about marriages. It's gonna be about colleges. We're gonna see like the sororities and fraternities in the streets,
Yep.
like
Absolutely.
that's the kind of future I want to see in the city
Major.
and for our kids and for like any city. I want to take it city to city and connect the kids in different cities. So like one thing that like, with the IAM ME, we did it in Los Angeles. I was trying to connect with the communities out in Los Angeles. I was talking to like different students out there. I was talking to different schools. I even brought some of my kids to the schools with me
Dope.
to see like what we can do. Because when we're off the stage, I want to create a network from Atlanta to LA, Chicago. I want different cities to all have one network where the kids, if one kid in LA starts a shoe brand, Atlanta, Mass, Chicago, we all promoting them.
Right.
So now he's not just having consumers from the people around him that he's living, where he's living. He has people all around the country. So now he's making a lot more money than what he could have just made, all because we created a network for them, and we connected them. So now we take it city to city. I mean, we could take it to Africa,
Yeah.
and then we tie it all in. And then now kids from Springfield that never thought they could do it is traveling back and forth to Africa doing international business. You know what I'm saying? Now they're opening big businesses and we're growing.
Right.
And I want to see that city to city because, we didn't have a head start.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like our culture, we had setbacks. So now we have to get back. And
Yep.
the way for me, at least, to do that was to go through the kids.
Yeah.
Because what I've noticed and in my experience is like a lot of people our age, either they get it or they don't. And because, what they're seeing in the culture, what they're seeing on Love and Hip Hop, what they're seeing is polluting the culture.
Big fact.
And it's like a lot of our people are following that and not following the right path. So it's like when I try to teach them, I'm corny.
Right.
Where it's
Right.
like, but when you're teaching the kids, you got celebrities coming, they seeing big things, they seeing big lights, they're going different places. They're noticing, nah, this ain't the way to go. This is the
Right.
way to go. And then they're starting to teach their parents. Now their parents are seeing their kids doing big things, and now they're like, how do I get involved? How do I switch it up? Because
Yeah.
I'm learning from my kids now.
Yep.
So like sometimes it takes that younger generation, that their energy, and with our wisdom, we can change the whole game.
Absolutely. Some of your models was telling me the other day, like it's more than the modeling is just the tip of the iceberg. Like we learn financial literacy, like we know what we're gonna do with our money, like, and that's really like inspiring as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know you work with like Module, for example, and she's my first student to hit 10K. You know what I'm saying? Like coming where she comes from, her story is her story. That's for her to tell. But I know her story. You know what I mean? And it's just like she made that $10,000 on her own in a year and 8 months.
It's major.
Like we got her a bank account. She made that not selling toes, not no OnlyFans, not
right.
doing anything crazy. She made that working at my after school program. And then like also like doing she works at the Mass Mutual Center
Mass Mutual, yep.
on like
Yeah.
weekends, and then she also has BTO and
Yeah, she be on that grind. I mean, she came in yesterday smelling like plates of food. She was like, "Yeah, I'm making plates. I'm trying to get that money up."
That's a real hustler right there.
So
Yeah.
it's like that 10K can change things for her and her family for the rest of her life. You know
How
what
old
I'm
is
saying?
she?
She just turned 18. She
Oh,
hit
yeah.
10K on her
Yeah.
18th birthday.
That's
So
major.
now she can make investments. And like the first investment that we're planning on her making is a 3-family home. because then she has that residual income. Now she has that passive income. Now she has somewhere her family could live and still be making money while she's at school. And then she keeps building that money, and then she keeps reinvesting.
Yeah.
And then
Oh yeah,
her
we gotta
life
talk after this podcast.
yeah,
we
her life
definitely-
has changed.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but that meant so much to me because this is my dream, is for, I want to create a generation of young millionaires. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is my start.
Right.
You know, and it's like Ariana, her savings is right next. I'm not gonna say how much she has in her savings. And Ariana's only 15 years old.
Let me hold $20.
Right, you know, like, so like she's up next, and it's like I want to keep it going, you know, and just like as many as kids we can save and get out of here and change the
Yeah.
game. That's what I want to do.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You building like pipelines.
Yeah,
Not
and, like,
not just from in Springfield, but like other states, other big cities. So
and that's the goal.
and then you're doing it in a way where it's like financial literacy and having these kids thinking differently than most
But
other kids.
we just grab them with the modeling because our culture is like either you're into the sports, you're into rap, or you're into fashion, you know, or like the movies, stuff like that,
Yeah.
you know. So it's like we gotta grab these kids some kind of way. So I was like, all right, well, we'll do a fashion show.
Yeah.
But during that fashion show, they have to go through trainings on leadership. They have to go through trainings on financial literacy. They have to go through community service.
Yeah.
They have to give back. They have to volunteer their time. And if you can't do that, this program's not for you.
program, yeah.
But they're meeting so many celebrities. They're traveling different places. They're living the life. So they're like, oh, we in Miami.
They
oh,
looking
we,
forward
you
to
know what
that
I'm saying?
next. They looking
think
forward to that next
yeah.
state you go to or city you go to
Yeah,
right
so
now.
they're
after
so
doing LA.
excited. They're like, you know, hearing these songs and stuff, and it's like
Yeah.
they're meeting celebrities. So it's like they're like, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
How can you lose?
Question for you. What do you say to the people who their first questions are like if you talk to them about IAM ME LA, they like, oh, how much did you make? Do you hate those questions?
I do. I hate those questions, and
Yeah.
honestly, I don't even entertain it
It's
because that's people's mindset.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you making money. It's first off, they don't even know how much you invested. They don't know how much time you put into it. They don't realize that I didn't just go to LA with a bag of money and just come up with another bag. You know what I'm saying? Like, I put my time in over 10 years to get here. It's a road to get what you're doing. That didn't just happen overnight.
Right.
Bitcoin classes just happen overnight. No. You built yourself to that. Sleepless nights, sacrifice with your family, not being able to see your family, having to travel all over the place, like doing that, like that. No amount of money can take back time with your family that you're losing out on
Right.
and what you're sacrificing to build up your community. But God is working through you. You know what I'm saying? Like, God's working through you. Like, we are doing something to inspire other people. So when people talk about that, I already know that their mindset is not where it needs to be. So I don't even entertain it.
Yeah.
I be like, how much money I make? I ain't even make any money, to be honest.
yeah.
Honestly, it gets reinvested anyways because
Right.
you have to
You
figure
gotta
out.
save out for next tournament,
your next thing.
next event. Nah,
So
that's-
it's like you make enough to eat, but then you got to keep it going and make it bigger and bigger
Yeah.
so that one day you can say, yeah,
Nah,
I did make
yeah,
some money.
I did make some
I
money.
did make
right?
some
But
money.
it's a
but I
long-term
deserved
plan.
it. Right.
It's a long-term plan. I feel like that's what you're doing with the kids too, where you're like, listen, it's not instant gratification. It's not instant.
Right.
Make sure it takes time to build it up to get to that 3-family house.
Right.
So that's huge. That's huge. All right. So what do you consider a success for IAM ME fashion show? Like after your event, you sitting down, you're looking at the film, you're looking at what is like this was successful. What determines that?
So having talks with the kids after, finding out like what inspired them, what did they learn from the trip, what did they get out of it, and then hearing some of the kids say that you can create the life you want or you can create whatever you want.
Yeah.
Hearing the kids tell me that they're proud of me because they heard my story. Just like because we started at the Panache Ballroom, and then we had IAM ME Los Angeles, and like before we never had celebrities, and then like having Jordan Baker from All American, it was like huge for them because that's a show that they watch.
Right.
So it's just like success for me is that I was able to take 24 kids from my city and show them another world. Just seeing the views, just being in Los Angeles. When they come back home, their mindset's not gonna be the same.
It's gonna be
They experience
bigger.
something different. Whether honestly, the fashion show was the least big thing to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I was like, glad this is over. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was
Right.
stressful. It was crazy.
Right.
But for me, it was the kids. It was them seeing other kids, modeling with other kids, especially we had like a huge Asian community that worked with us, and a huge agency. Just having them work with different ethnicities, like
Yeah.
just experiencing different things. Like, it was fun.
That's dope.
And it was good. And like, just seeing the kids for me, just seeing that they can make things happen and
Yeah.
them making their connections and like seeing what's going to happen next for them.
That's fire. Like, and I feel like that's you're like as a coach, because I used to coach. That's what you get when you see a kid go on to college or go on to. It's not about the wins. It's not about the the losses. But when you see a kid go on to college, get picked up by a school, and you're just like, yo, I did my job. You know what I mean? I did my job.
And then even some of the people call me or text me. Like, somebody texted me the other day, like, Ariana, what you are doing with that girl is amazing. It was like, she walks in the room like she owns the room, and she really, her confidence is through the
She
roof.
really does.
She walks in the room like she owns it. Then she be have her sunglasses on, and she just shows her personality, and she's not afraid to.
Yeah.
Ariana used to be so shy. Honestly, at the Bitcoin classes, she was like hiding. I was like, all right, get behind that and get over here and stop,
Yeah, yeah.
But like, just seeing her growth is just, that warms me. Seeing some of my girls who hated themselves, who hated their body, hated their skin color, hated their hair, hated how they look, to killing it on the runway. They got their walk. I'll be like, can you teach me? Like, mind you, they're 12 and 13 years old, just like seeing them.
Super confident. Yeah.
Super confident. They walk anywhere and you can't tell them nothing.
That's major.
Because they believe in themselves and they love themselves, and they also know that they have a family that believes in them. They have a support system that believes in them. So
That's dope.
everything.
And I have a daughter. She's 7, and that's like one of the things that I'm like reading on is like, how do you build a confident kid? How do you build? And it's just putting them in situations where it's like you might fail at first,
Right.
but keep doing it, and you're
Exactly.
gonna build that confidence in whatever you do, whatever you lane, and that trickles over to just like
Life.
self-esteem,
Yes.
and just being confident within your body.
Because
So
you got to
that's-
think about it. Like, a lot of girls that have low self-esteem or low self-worth, like, what they go through in life. Like, even, like, studies showed, I had to do a lot of research on it, because, like, depression is a reason why, like, another reason, like, we do the IAM ME to build their confidence, because a lot of girls who don't love themselves, they don't want to get dressed. They don't want to be around certain people.
Right.
They start smoking, or they start getting drunk to deal with their low self-esteem because they don't love themselves. They start being successful. Like, a lot of people can take advantage of them.
Yeah.
Especially guys. A lot of guys take advantage of them because they don't love themselves, and they're doing stuff to be loved, and they're hurt. Like, when you are giving your body up and you're doing stuff to be loved, and they still don't love you, it breaks you down even more till you feel like you're nothing. Now you're having these kids. Now you're not even raising your kids. Now you're doing all this stuff to be loved, when we could build their confidence before they even get to any of those dark places.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to walk down that runway by yourself. I hate coming out at the end.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I hate coming out at the end. So, like,
Yeah.
walking that 50-foot runway by yourself, you got to have a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
So, like, these kids have to build that up to get there, and just see their little journeys is just, I'd be ready to cry.
Nah, it's amazing. It's
Nah,
amazing.
you even work with people like indirectly. Like me, when I was in college, like even seeing some of the stuff you was doing in, I think it was in Washington.
Yeah.
Like seeing all that, I was like, nah, I gotta get through it. I gotta keep on this grind, because if my cousin can do it, I can do it.
Right.
So yeah.
Oh, see, that means a lot to me. And
Nah,
seeing your
man.
growth, I'm like, it's mind blowing. It really is.
Georgie's,
And then like
he's-
you'll like
It's the
find a
truth.
way to put
True.
anybody on as well. Like I had a camera when I was younger, and I was like, yeah, I'm just taking pictures. Oh, good, come to my event. You can take pictures. Blah blah blah. I'll pay you. What? I just got this camera. Like,
Like,
but like she'll put you on. She'll make sure you all set and make sure you're getting your money before she even gets her money. She'll make sure you get paid. Like
Yeah.
you good.
Yes.
And that's what I love about her.
oh,
Because
thank you.
Signs
she
of-
pays
that's the
me.
signs
That's
that's the signs of a good leader, though. For
Oh,
sure.
absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
Um,
and then like she's
oh,
a
go ahead.
leader that built my fault. She's a leader that builds leaders, which is even better.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
You put people in positions to win, and a lot of people don't want to do that.
Yeah. You do the same thing as
I
well.
try
You
to.
do.
Yo, I
You
try
really
to.
do.
No,
You
you
really
do.
do.
I try to, because I feel like coming up, I didn't have that. You know
And
what
those
I mean?
opportunities.
all I knew was basketball, you know what I'm saying? And then when I got to a certain point, when I got to college, it was like culture shock because I started to realize like, oh, you got a mentor? Oh, you got somebody to get you that position?
Right.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
And it was a little too late for me. So it's like once I graduated college, I was always like, all right, I got to find a mentor. And then I also want to be a mentor for
Right.
whoever's coming up. But dial back real quick. You said you started at the Panache, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to take your humble jacket off, was there any fashion shows around that time that was doing it at the level you're doing yours at? Or at that time was doing the way you did it? Like the kids fashion show at that.
There wasn't any kids fashion shows. The only fashion show that I had known of at the time was like Just B. So shout out to Bianca.
Okay.
Just B had her fashion shows for the proms.
Yeah.
And but as far as kids and like you just everyday like fashion shows,
Yeah.
I didn't know of any. I honestly did it because I'm like, what can kids do to show who they are?
Yeah.
But that was really it. I wasn't even, it was more so about them showing their own fashion. That's why I was like, I Am Me fashion show.
Yeah.
And it kind of developed into something more, but there wasn't really anybody that like
I
did
asked
that.
because when I started City of Guards, it was a one-on-one tournament in Springfield. I don't know if y'all remember that. But it was one-on-one
at
basketball tournaments. I did them at the Hall of Fame. But
Yep.
around that time, there was no. We had we had the school field that was coming up every summer, and then we had Hubbard. But it was nobody putting in like doing marketing, doing flyers,
Yep.
doing the extra. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Uh-huh.
And I feel like once I started the City of Guards, it kind of opened the door for
For a
other
bunch of
people to be
different
like,
people.
oh, okay.
And then,
Let's do it. Let's create this. Let's create this. Let's create this. So I feel like you're one of those people too who's like
experienced that.
yeah,
Absolutely.
inspired the city a little bit.
Yeah. So as we come to a close, is there anything that we didn't talk about that you wanted to bring up?
I think we touched base on a little bit of everything. And
I mean, you can keep talking about how amazing I am. I mean,
know.
we can do that all day.
Of course. Amazing how both of you guys are. And I appreciate what you guys are doing, even with this podcast. Like, it's educating the community. So I appreciate everything that you guys do. Yeah. You know, look forward to, like, collaborating, and we need to put something together.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course, definitely, yeah.
What's next? What's next for you? I Am Me.
I Am Me Atlanta.
Okay.
I Am Me Atlanta in the fall.
Fire. Atlanta would be tough.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah, y'all
fall. Are
definitely
you
need to
doing
connect, 'cause
one?
you got some good connections
I
out
got
in
some great
Atlanta.
connections in Atlanta.
Yo, this
Okay.
pizza joint, Dojo
Dojo Pizza.
man.
And then
listen,
also the
Black-owned?
dance community that came to mind. Yeah. She has a big community out there. So
Oh, yeah, you got to connect me.
connect you with that. And then are you doing one in Springfield again this summer or
Yep, March 23rd.
March 23rd?
Yep, it's coming
Okay.
up. So
Dope.
it's going to be, that one's going to be good too. We got the kids
so we
been
get
going
so
in.
we get good tickets, right? We get
Oh,
good
you got
seats.
front row.
All right.
Front row, all that.
I'm in there this year. I'm bringing my daughter. I might have her walk.
Yeah, that'll be dope.
I might have her walk.
That'll be dope.
All right, yeah, we got to do that. All right, we good, man. Another episode of The Producer's Aisle. Shout out to Teka Jones. I think, what's your Instagram, all that?
At Teka Jones.
At Teka Jones. You can follow her. Thank you again for showing up, telling us about
Absolutely.
your story. Definitely inspiring. And Georgie.
It's probably ain't the last time we're gonna see you. Just letting you know that now. We
I
gotta have
know.
you back.
I
gotta
gotta
have
come
her
back.
back.
I love
We
it.
definitely got to have her back. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all next episode.
All right, thank